Good morning. Hello. My name is Paweł Skrzypek. I'm working as a technical director in the Melodic and Morphemic open source project. And today I want to say about the latest developments in our multi-cloud platform. Melodic and Morphemic are fully open source project. The source code is available on the Mozilla public license, so you can download, use, and adapt to your projects. It is developed within the Horizon 2020 projects, Melodic and Morphemic, and fully available as open source to use by any users, both individual, commercial ones, and so on. I will start with a short, brief explanation what is Melodic. It is a single universal platform for optimized deployment and management of applications in the cloud, in the multi-cloud de facto, and it includes the serverless components. And as I said, it's fully open source. In Melodic, you model your application using the Camel language. I will tell about that a bit more later. And based on that model, Melodic fetches the best offers, the best possible price and performance offers from the different cloud providers. Melodic is currently supports AWS, Google Cloud Platform, and Microsoft Azure, as well as any cloud provider based on the OpenStack. And then select the most optimal one, this deployment set, and deploy application automatically. After that, Melodic is monitoring application and redeploy, add or remove resources if needed. Why to use a platform like Melodic? First reason is that it is probably the simplest and easiest way to use multi-cloud approach. It is the unified way of deploying virtual machines, containers, serverless, and big data frameworks to different cloud providers. The deployment is fully automatic and probably the most unique features, it is optimized of the usage of cloud resources. First step is to model the application, and the application is modeled using cloud application modeling and execution language called CAML. It is a very feature-rich model which allows to model application. It is cloud agnostic, similar to Tosca standard, but more richer. It allows to model applications, security, connections, and other things. It allows also to describe the requirements for the infrastructure. So for each component, we can determine the requirements, what size, what type of infrastructure is required. And it is modeled as a user requirement, constraints, and utility. About utility, I will tell a bit more in a moment. So you can consider CAML as a unified way to describe your application in the multi-cloud. The most crucial point is the question, what is the best deployment? To determine the best deployments, Melodic offers a full metric collection system. It is possible to collect metric of the running application, and based on that metric, calculate so-called utility function. It is the concept known from the economic theory, preferences or utility of a given thing for people. And in Melodic, we are able to calculate the utility for particular application and particular deployment. And thanks to that, determine how good is the given deployment. Melodic is focusing on the business value. Of course, we can measure the CPU usage, memory, and so on, but we can also measure the average response time to the customer, average processing time of the job submitted by user of the application, and so on. And thanks to that, we can optimize the ergonomic and usage of the application. And you need to remember that optimization is always trade-off. For example, if we want to minimize the cost, only minimize the cost, then we can deploy just no deploy application, yeah, because in that case the cost will be zero. Of course, the performance will be exactly the same, zero, but the cost will be minimized. But usually it is the trade-off between the cost, performance, security, availability, and so on. And there are multiple solutions, and Melodic is able to choose the best one, so you can consider as a smart autonomic DevOps. How it works. First step is to model the application, set the initial parameters and requirements, and then Melodic automatically calculate initial deployments based on the offers available from the cloud providers as well as on premises resources. And then optimal deployment plan is found and deployed to the selected cloud providers fully automatically. After deployment of application, the metric collection is running, so the application is fully monitored, and based on the results of monitoring, Melodic decides if the deployment plan should be corrected, or new resources should be added, or maybe some resources should be removed. If yes, then the new optimal deployment is found and application is reconfigured. So these resources are added or removed. And all this loop, these blue ones, is working in the automatic way. So it is done without the human intervention. So it's fully automatically working in the continuous way. That's the simple functionality, but in the Morphemic project, we add two very important features, and currently is available release 2.0 of the Morphemic with the proactive adaptation, and polymorphic architecture is currently under development and is planned to be released at the end of this year. And what is polymorphic architecture, polymorphic adaptation? It is a very unique concept which allows to adapt not only number of the resources, but also the architecture of the application. So for example, Melodic will decide if the application should be deployed on the virtual machines, on serverless components, or maybe virtual machines with the GPU, with the special version of application, able to use the GPU to increase the performance, or FPGA, or any other that type of the resources. And thanks to that, application can be adapted in much more wider dimension than just adding or removing resources, because we can decide which type of the component to use with the GPU, without the GPU, with the FPGA. Of course, if that component are available, then the best form can be selected. And the second concept is proactive adaptation. It is currently developed and released and can be downloaded from the Melodic website. So current version of Melodic includes the extension from Morphemic project and is able to proactively adapt application. What does it mean? Proactive in standard adaptation, Melodic is reactive. So based on the values of the metrics, so how long takes to process the user request or to process the given job, Melodic add or remove resources, but it is proactive. it is reactive. But in the proactive adaptation, melodic is forecasting the execution context. So how long it will take to process user request, how long it will take to process the submitted job, and based on that, proactively add or maybe even remove the resources to allow for the more smoothly working of the application. If you imagine the case of the e-commerce shop just before the promotion or maybe introducing new product, there could be a time period in which the application is not working because, okay, there are a lot of the users suddenly appears and the application is not able to process all of them. Of course, in that case, the new resources will be added automatically in a reactive way, but it takes 5 to 10 minutes. So in that window, the application is not working properly. With proactive adaptation, we can predict that situation and add resources proactively before it happens. So melodic identify the trends. For example, if the number of the users is increasing, then melodic can predict the future value of that number of users and properly add resources. And for that predictions, we are using quite advanced or even the latest machine learning based method for the time series prediction, like exponential smoothing method or n-bits or temporal fusion transformers, which are state of the art in the time series forecasting. And melodic is used currently commercially by some of the users. One user is a Polish company called AI Investments, which has developed the system for the investments optimization portfolio. So the using advanced AI machine learning models. And one of the elements of the AI investments platform are time series forecasting adapted to the financial time series forecasting. And typical goal of the AI investments is to train, let's say, 50 predictions models in 1 hour using, of course, as minimal number of resources as possible. As AI investments operates on over 200 different financial instruments in different intervals and time periods, there is a need to train many of the forecasting models, to retrain them and so on. And of course, training machine learning models requires a lot of power, requires resources with the GPU, which are costly. So properly optimized that could give a real or even huge benefits. And I will tell also about the benefits. But how it works in terms of the AI investments. We can see that we have the investments analyst in the AI investments and investments analyst starts the process of the retraining forecasting models. At first, the on-premises resources are used because they are available already both, so can be used with the minimal marginal costs, but usually it's not enough. So melodic is calculating time, how long it takes to use the on-premises resources. It's 3 hours, so way too long. So additional resources are added in the cloud, new workers are deployed, and melodic automatically select the cheapest possible offers, of course, in terms of the performance to price. And new resources are added, the training starts on these new resources, and melodic again calculates the time. It's still too high, so new resources are added. to that. New resources are added. And in that case, melodic is finished. The training is finished in the 1 hour as expected. After the training, the results of the training are stored, and all of the cloud resources are removed to save cost and to save money. So as you can see, the use case is very simple. It's very simple, but very powerful. Yeah, the first benefit is to save the cost, but not only that. In the AI investments, the very complex cost analysis was done, and this multi-cloud deployment is the most cost optimal way of deploy. As you can see, as you can see, the full cloud model is the most expensive one. The full on-premises model is also very expensive, but this hybrid model is the most cost optimal. And comparing to the most costly model, it gives the 175,000 US dollar of savings in the 3 years perspective. So it's quite a lot. Yeah, of course, it is the difference between the worst and most optimal models. So real savings probably will not be as high, but nevertheless, it will be significant. Yeah? So you can see what are the benefits, and it's not the only one benefit. Yeah, also melodic gives the automatic high availability deployment. So, for example, if the on-premises, in case of the failure of the on-premises infrastructure, the application will be automatically deployed to the selected cloud providers. It will be more expensive, but application will work. Yeah, and as I said, melodic is fully open source. You can download melodic from here. Yeah, it is released under Mozilla Public License 2.0, and you can use, develop, and I want also encourage to join the melodic community and develop further melodic together with us. You can also follow melodic on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and also follow the melodic website. That's all from my side. I hope you found that presentation valuable. If you have more questions, comments, or interested in melodic, I'm warmly welcome to contact us. Thank you very much.